Welcome back to Tales of Truth, where we tell the truth about veterinary medicine. I'm Dr. Angie, and this is my co-host, JoJo, veterinary nurse extraordinaire. And today we're going to be talking about what you should be feeding your cats, how to pick it out. I don't know. Anything you want to know about feeding your cats, I think that's probably what we're going to be talking about.
Right.
Hi, JoJo.
Hi. It's so funny. I have to just tell this story. We were laughing all the way up until record because they said, "Are we going to talk about cats or dogs and diet?" And Dr. Angie goes, "It's a surprise." So I just learned that we're going to talk about cats and diet.
Yes. And on that note, so yesterday, JoJo and I were like, okay, we're going to record tomorrow morning because we do have to plan out when we're going to record. And I was like, you know what? We should get it, we should figure out what we're going to talk about. We're going to get like bullet points. We're going to get organized. And I sat down last night after the kids went to bed and I thought, oh, wait, the whole point of this podcast is that it is unscripted. And the minute I felt like I needed to make an outline for it, I was like, I don't even want to do this podcast anymore. Like, I don't want to talk about it because part of our magic with you and I is that we get to come together and just talk about stuff.
Right. It freaked me out too. I went to bed and woke up from 1 to 3:30 just being like, oh my gosh, what are the lines that we're going to need for edits? And oh my gosh, what if my hair's not just right? Or what if, it just changed the whole concept of this podcast.
Yeah. Sorry about that. That was a bad idea, but I was trying to be organized.
No, it's okay. Organization is good. I love organization, but I don't do this well with organization.
No. And it's unscripted, and that's the fun of it. Because if we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about cat food, and we're going to talk about some opinions that I have in my experience. So that's what we got. So where should we start?
Well, let's start with your expertise in this area, right? Because maybe a lot of you don't know that Dr. Angie has worked in the pet food industry. I don't know when you started, but I know that you've worked for multiple brands on multiple tiers of availability, from grocery store shelf brand to, a up and coming farm brand.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know when I started. It was a long time ago. Tula was a baby. I've worked in the pet food industry for a long time, so I have a lot of insight about how pet food brands market, about how they formulate, and I've worked for 3 really great brands that I love. I worked for I Love and You, which is a Boulder-based company that distributes through grocery store, and I was really excited about them because it felt like the first time there was premium branding, there's premium food in the grocery store, which is so great. And as a mother, being able to buy everything in one place became so much more important after I had children. And then I got to work.
I have to interrupt you on that one and tell a story about how I once went into Whole Foods and I saw your face in the grocery store aisle, down here in Denver. And I was just like, oh, I know her. Yeah, because you were on the branding.
I was?
Yeah, did I ever send that to you? I'm like,
no.
I know her. Like, I felt like, Elf in Santa.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, anyhow.
I didn't know my face made it there.
Yeah, you were grocery store famous there for a minute.
For a minute in Whole Foods. My face was in Whole Foods. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. You got to dig up that picture. I want to see it.
I think I must have texted it to you, or I must have called you and been like, it's so weird. So weird to work for somebody who is on all the marketing.
Then I worked for Open Farm, and I loved Open Farm. I mean, I still love Open Farm. I feed my cats Open Farm too. And they're a great brand. And what I loved about them is they're really focused on sustainability and ingredient traceability and transparency. And they're into all those buzzwords, but in a meaningful way.
Cool company. Yeah.
They are cool. And they're Canadian, which is even cooler. And then I most recently worked for Stella Chewy's, which was kind of like the pinnacle for me of pet food, because Stella Chewy's was the first brand that started making raw food and everyone could put their meat grinders away. And they've been around forever. And I love their food. I feed my kitties Stella Chewy's, and I got to go visit their plant and see how everything was made. And I have even more confidence in them as a brand. And so I've definitely seen kind of the inside of the pet food industry. And it's
I think you've loved something about each one of those industries, or each one of those spaces. You've come away with something that you've learned. So let's go backwards. Let's start with the Stella Chewy's and the accessibility of raw, because raw food in cats is a different conversation than raw food in dogs in this current day and time.
Right. Yes, it is. I'm a big advocate of raw feeding for cats because it meets all the requirements of high protein, high moisture, low carbohydrate. And I think cats do really well on a raw diet. And selfishly, I love a raw diet because it makes their poops not stink.
Right.
Which is huge.
Especially with the litter boxes on the floor right there behind your desk.
Yes, I work. My office and the litter box share a space because I have a small house. And so everything is close to everything. And my cat's poop doesn't stink. I can say that with confidence because I feed raw.
Well, there's your clip right there. My cat poo doesn't stink.
Yeah.
What an elitist thing to say.
What an elitist thing to say, definitely. And I feel like most of my feline patients that are on a raw diet do really well. And they're usually a good weight, except for the cat that's in my lap right now. Usually raw-fed cats aren't overweight, but enter Fritz right here. So he's an exception. And he made a whole nother episode. We made a whole episode about Fritz's weight. In the shame
episode. Yeah. We probably should do like a weight loss episode.
I know. We should. Fritz doesn't want to hear about it, but
no, that's okay. Yes. He seems comfortable not knowing anything.
Yes.
He looks asleep. But raw food's not all created equal. And so I think it's even confusing sometimes because there is raw coated kibble. I don't know if they do that for cats. Do they do that for cats? Okay. Which I wonder what that actually means. There's a lot of people come to us and he's so cute. He's such a cute distraction right now. A lot of people come and they think they're doing raw correctly by just buying raw meats from Costco.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Commercial raw. So talk about what is an appropriate raw diet.
So you want to have two things in your raw diet. You want to have a proper kill step. Because when you go to, and that kill step, meaning we're killing harmful bacteria, salmonella, E. coli, campylobacter, avian flu, which is not a bacteria, it's a virus, but we're inactivating all of these things. So our cats can't become infected, and so we can't become infected because that stuff is transmitted in their poop, live and infective. And so I really recommend that there is a good kill step. Now, that varies from company to company, and that's why I have such an allegiance to Stella and Chewy's, and Open Farm does a good job too. I want that raw food to be treated with HPP. And this is controversial, and there are a lot of people that say HPP, which is high pressure pasteurization or processing. People use either term. They say, oh, it really diminishes some of the nutrition. And that's just not true. HPP, I'm going to say it for those in the back, HPP does not diminish the nutrition in the raw food, but it does diminish your chances of becoming infected with E. coli or salmonella or avian influenza. So do it. It's good. Modern technology here is good.
Okay.
The second thing
should be able to call the raw food company and ask what their process is.
Yes.
And if they can't tell you, you should just skip that product.
Run away. If they're like, oh, well, we know our farmers, or we really count on the USDA to provide us with safe meats. Now, there's a lot of, that's a whole nother episode. But let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not depend on that. The USDA is not going to make sure your chicken doesn't have salmonella. The USDA counts on your chicken probably having salmonella because they want you to cook it. And that's the problem when you go to the grocery store. That meat has been there for a hot minute and it has salmonella on it, guaranteed. So don't put that down in your house. It's not made for that. If you really wanted to do it better, but I still wouldn't do it like this, you could go to a butcher. And you could get out your meat grinder and make your own food that way. But that brings me to my second point, is that it needs to be balanced. You can't just throw some chicken breast at your cat and expect them to be healthy. That's not a balanced meal. When cats eat, they eat generally the whole animal, which has organs, and then there's cartilage, and you have all these other components that you're not getting when you're just feeding the muscle meat. And we have all this data to show what cats need to be healthy. And I like to use the data we have. I do not throw that away. And so when you go to the grocery store, not only is it not safe meat, but it's not balanced.
Right. Okay, so we have a pet food store in Boulder area called Shine, and I believe they're in Austin as well. Are they balancing their meals in some way?
They are. They do
are.
balance. Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
there are 1 or 2 minerals that they differ on, and they have reasons to differ from AFCO standard. And so I do like their foods. They have thought about it. They have crunched the numbers. And so that's intentional. So their formulas, I really like their formulas.
I think they ship now too. So you don't have to be in Boulder or Austin, which I realize are both very crunchy areas.
I think it's New Mexico. I think it's Santa Fe.
Is it New Mexico?
Yeah,
okay,
I don't think they're in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Raw food. So still safe to give raw food in this time of avian influenza. If you are choosing a company that is using a kill step. I know it's hard because there's so much we don't know yet.
Well, the thing is, just because someone says they do HPP doesn't mean that they do it for long enough. And so, yeah. So what I've been doing in this avian influenza time is I've been sticking to the 2 manufacturers that I know and love. I sat at the plant of Stella Chewy's and talked to their QA person. She's on it. They are so strict that I feel comfortable trusting my cats' lives with them. And so I've stuck with them through this avian influenza, and the same with Open Farm too. And so I don't worry about either one of those brands when it comes to avian influenza. And I hate to say this because it's not that I think other brands aren't doing it well. I just didn't stand there and talk to them about their protocols and watch it happen.
Sure. Right. I mean, that's fair that you would speak from experience, and that's what I hear. That's a responsible thing to do. This is what you know.
Love Stella Chewy's. I've loved Stella Chewy's before I worked for them. they've always been responsible, and they've always put safety first.
And they have a great palatability spread, if you will, because you can get raw food in a frozen, you can get it in a freeze dried, you could get it a coated kibble, I guess, but I, again, don't really know what that means.
Well, I think basically they just spray on raw. I don't know if Stella Chewy's does make a raw coated kibble.
They do for dogs. I don't
they do for dogs?
Yeah, they do.
I don't know they do for cats. I don't like kibble for cats. Let's dive
from raw. And I also want to, before we leave raw,
okay,
it's hard because there are clinics that will really, really shame people who are feeding raw.
Totally.
So many veterinarians are against it. So how does somebody go in and advocate if they want to feed raw?
I think you just have to be ready for the judgment, and you just have to let it roll off and try to find a veterinarian that's tolerant. Oh, I hate using that word. Feels so gross.
What's gross about tolerant? Because it's not good enough. It's not supportive.
Yeah. It's oh, I tolerate that you do this thing.
Yeah, nobody likes to be tolerated.
No one wants to be tolerated.
Yeah.
And obviously, raw feeding does have some serious downsides if not done well. And that's why veterinarians don't like it. I understand why your veterinarian's judgmental. They just don't have all of the information.
Right.
But it does suck.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
There is a lot of judgment still around.
There is. I hate that.
On both sides, if you're not feeding raw, you're going to get judged by a certain group of people. It's a movement.
Oh my God, I hate that. PSA. Yeah. If you are feeding your dog kibble, and this is all for this is for the cat people.
Yeah.
Tell everyone that you're not going to give your dog cancer. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell everyone. I know that this episode is about cats, and for some reason, it's not the same on the cat side. People do not shame people for feeding their cats kibble, although we're going to talk about why I don't like kibble. Yeah. But there's not the fear mongering for cats. it didn't make its way over. But
I don't know
it did
if
for
it's
dogs.
True. I think it's
really?
In comment sections, it is a mean escape.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah,
I've missed it
is. So I think there is a kitty movement happening. So let's move into kibble.
Okay, let's move into kibble. If you are feeding your cat kibble, I do not think you're killing them. I do not think that you're going to give them cancer. Here's what I think. I think kibble is too high in carbohydrate for cats because they're obligate carnivores. And obligate carnivores, which means that they absolutely need meat. They need high protein, low carbohydrate, high moisture diets. Like we're just mimicking a mouse. That's what your cat really would eat if left to their own devices somewhere.
Predator prey.
Exactly. And so kibble just doesn't meet that because it's too high in carbohydrate. And even if you say, well, Angie, I'm feeding a grain-free kibble, it's fine. It's not fine because they just replaced that grain with potato or pea, some kind of carbohydrate to make it crunchy. And so it's not optimal. We know that cats that are fed kibble have more dental disease. We know they're more overweight. We know they have more inflammation. We know they're more prone to inflammatory diseases like diabetes. Now, does that
mean
less
hydrated? It's also
they're less hydrated.
Less hydrated, yeah.
For some, but that doesn't mean all cats that are eating kibble are unhealthy because genetics still play a huge role. Sometimes I'll have like a 15-year-old cat that's been eating low-end kibble who's svelte, has no dental disease, has no kidney disease, and looks great. And so I think I want to, say I don't recommend feeding kibble, but not all cats that eat kibble are doing poorly.
Right. So the Friskies cat have just as much longevity and health as the Stella Chewy's raw cat.
Right, because of genetics.
Yep.
Because of genetics. And so, there's only so much we can overcome with diet. But I do think overall, if we look at the population overall, cats do better on raw or canned food.
Okay, so canned is another good option. I mean, is there more to say about kibble? This is what I was taught in school, and I don't know if it's actually accurate, but it feels a little bit accurate. They taught us that kibble is very much like having McDonald's for every meal because it's very delicious, it's satisfying, slightly addictive, and really hard to move away from.
Yes, I think it is satisfying. I think it's addictive, and I do think it's hard to move away from. And you know what? Maybe a burger from McDonald's has more nutrition than we're giving it credit for. It's not like they're all empty calories. So maybe it is like that. And it is hard to get cats off of kibble that have been on it. And some cats are just going to prefer the higher carbohydrate diet. It is more satiating.
And the ease and accessibility as a guardian is just hands down the easiest, especially if you have a free feeder who just feeds throughout the day. It's just, it is simpler.
And it's cheaper. So, not everyone can afford canned or raw diets. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a cat, in my opinion. So if you have a 10-year-old cat that's been eating kibble and you try to feed them something else and they won't have it, well, that's what they're doing because cats really do make a lot of their own life choices.
Yep. Okay. So
that's what it is.
Kibble is okay, not ideal. There are more ideal diets.
Yeah. I feel like saying kibble is okay is still a little generous.
Okay. Kibble is not ideal.
Kibble is not ideal.
Yes. And we understand if you're needing to use it.
Yeah. Or if that's the only thing your cat will eat.
Yeah. Or if your cat is choosing that.
Right? If your cat's what are you going to do?
Save your relationship.
Save your relationship. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So kibble moved to canned. Let's go to canned because I feel like that's the next tier up from kibble.
Yeah, canned is much better than kibble and almost any type of canned. And this is, what I'm going to say is going to be controversial, but Fancy Feast is not that bad. Everyone thinks
you pulled the Fancy Feast card when for sick cats that don't eat anything.
All the time.
They'll go for the Fancy Feast. It must smell amazing. That's what I think.
Well, the palatability of Fancy Feast, they did a great job. Like they have all the SKUs, they have all the mouth feels, meaning like how does it feel in the cat's mouth? They have cheddar cheese in some of them. I don't know. They did a great job. Okay. And because it is low in carbohydrate, high in protein, and high in moisture, is better than the best kibble on the market. And feeding canned is expensive. And so if you need to go to the lower end cans, it's really not that low end. And some of the, like if you go to the high-end Tiki Cat Waruva, I mean, those are great, but you open those up and they look like fish. They're like little fish
They
in the
do.
can.
Yeah.
And some cats are like, excuse me, but I'm not eating that. No, thank you. And
Right.
so I am not afraid of Fancy Feast or like Costco or Sam's have their own brands of canned foods for cats. They're good. They're good.
Okay.
So that's fine. The downside of canned, if we're going to talk about it, is the lining. Just like when we're eating canned foods, that lining has chemicals that we are linking to hyperthyroidism. But not all cats get hyperthyroidism that eat canned diets. But there is a link. But there's also a link to hyperthyroidism and fire retardants in furniture and carpets and floors. And it's so that's, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode just on that.
I feel like that just made me feel like we're never going to win. So do your best.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Just relax, enjoy your cat. So much of this is genetic. Do the best you can with diet and love your cat.
No.
Enjoy life.
Are there other options? Well, I mean, if we were to touch on two other options, the things I can think of are gently home cooked or gently cooked or home cooked. I guess they're kind of separate. Could people do that? They can do that with the chicken from Costco.
I mean,
they're balancing it with.
Yeah, so you go to Balance.it.com, generate a recipe.
Balance.it.
I don't think so.
I think so. I don't know.
I have been Google. You should look it up right now.
Because I feel like I'm going to do it right now.
I wonder if they have both like URLs
they might have both.
to the same. Fritz's back. I feel like I have cat hair swirling all around me and it keeps getting in
You're
my
right.
nose.
So if you go to Balance.it.com, it goes to Balance.it.
Okay.
So we're both right.
We're both right. So do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Google it. So you go to Balance.it.com and you can get this mix. So if you go to products, it's going to have a cat mix. And it'll help you generate a recipe, or you can create your own recipe on there. And it'll tell you how much of this vitamin and mineral mix you need to balance it so your cat's getting all the vitamins and nutrients they need. However, it's a special cat who's going to eat the texture of that food. And I'm not saying it's no one's cat. And I want all the comments under this for people to tell me how they're cooking for their cats with like out a meat grinder and how they're making that mouth feel just right for their cat. Because there are cats out there. I mean, we've had people that cooked for their cats. And so it's not that it doesn't happen. It's just harder. So it's, a lot of cats are really specific about their mouthfeels. That's why they have like shreds and pate and chunks and, there's just so many ways.
Variability is so key with cats too. I mean, don't you feel you have to be on rotate?
Yes. I've had some cats where I couldn't feed them the same thing 2 meals in a row. Some cats are really high maintenance eaters. Gosh.
And some cats who probably don't want to pivot from what they're eating ever. So maybe it's not a good idea to put them in one bucket. But it seems like more people are feeding variability.
Yes. And some of these companies, so I know this is going to be a weird thing to say, but Just Food for Dogs used to have a cat line that they kept around because there were enough people that liked it. And basically it's a home cooked diet that comes frozen that you thaw out. And so enough cats liked that. And there are more, like I think is Smalls one of them?
Smalls is pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's home cooked looking.
Yeah.
Okay, Fritz, be nice.
I've always wondered that because I see their recipes and I've had that question. Is there a cat that's enjoying that from a palatability standpoint, from a texture?
So if your cat eats Smalls, tell us. Tell us what they were eating before and tell us if it was hard to get them on it.
Yeah, because the company itself, I really want to get behind.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And I want to know, like, how are cats responding to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about all the things except the last one I think that we should end on is prescription diets, because that is so painful for people who come to our practice.
It's painful. Yeah. Okay. This is when I use prescription diets. Inflammatory bowel disease, for sure. They can be really helpful. Don't fight the prescription diet if your cat has chronic diarrhea or vomiting. Try them out. Just do the canned if you can. Of course, do the kibble if that's all your kitty will eat, or if financially that's all that works. Totally understood. Some of these prescription diets are spendy. So I like them. Sometimes I can keep cats off of steroids just by using a novel protein diet. So I really like Royal Canin Select Proteins. They have a a venison, a duck. I think they have a
They
rabbit.
have a rabbit.
Yeah, and so I do use prescription diets there for kitties. And then I also use prescription diets at the later stages of kidney disease because it can help them feel better.
But
Yeah.
prescription diets, I've noticed there are more and more and more of them, and they're being offered almost immediately if your kitty has any kind of disease state. Like, what is this? It seems
Well,
there are
okay.
so many.
Yeah. Well, I think veterinary medicine is kind of heading towards functional nutrition.
Mhm.
And all of us holistic minded people, let's be patient because if you start to look at their ingredient decks, they're cleaning them up. They
They're
really
listening.
are. They're listening. So keep telling them what you're looking for. And I think they're trying to do functional nutrition, which makes sense because we know with nutrition, we can turn genes on and off, just
Yeah.
like with people. And so, yes, it's not just a scam that there's a diet for that. Oh,
Right.
the other time, cats and prescription diets, cats that get blocked.
Oh, yes, for sure.
I use those diets.
Yeah.
I use the canned CD so that's Hill's CD or the Royal Canin SO. And I think they do help.
And those have
Now,
been around for decades as a first line defense for these kitties.
they have things in there to help reduce your cat's
Uh-huh.
stress. Like that is a good functional nutrition. Now, is the ingredient deck exactly how I would want it? No. But if I can keep your cat from blocking, anything we can do because everyone knows that's so scary, it's
So scary.
expensive, it's traumatizing. I mean, that's thousands and thousands. I
Can you
mean,
imagine how painful too?
no, I can't. I can't
Ugh,
imagine that. Yeah,
so
so
painful.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
another time I use
Yeah.
prescription diets.
And with cats, I mean, it's only going to get better and better, right? Because they are also decades behind on the research, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
once that research catches up, it's just going to get better and better.
It's only up from here.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we covered it all. Is there
Yes.
I mean, I would say diet, if you want to get a free course on diet, Dr. Angie has made a
Yeah.
course for cats I think it's called the Optimal Diet. So it goes much more in length or in depth than this conversation. And you can go to boulderholisticvet.com, click on learn more, and then you'll see our courses. Use the
Yep.
code TruthTales, spelled either truth, TAILS, or TALES, and that will get you one free course. And if you want to go even deeper than that, Dr. Angie does a lot of diet consults, which we can do via a video consultation, which also go to boulderholisticvet.com, and there's a little button that says book a consultation and
Yes.
grab time.
Grab that course because it's $97 and you
Uh-huh.
get it for free listening to this podcast. So get it. Get
Yeah.
it and watch it.
And leave us your
And share
questions
it.
because I know that we miss stuff.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure. Well, and I'm sure I've said something that's going to make someone upset.
Oh,
So I'm
that's okay.
sorry. I'm sorry if I did.
That's so easy to do.
It's so easy to do. And we love you no matter what you're feeding your cat. And all I can give you are my recommendations. And at the end of the day, you have to do what works for you and your kitty.
Okay.
Okay,
Talk
we'll
to you
see you
next time.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.